Trace Cornell, 7 secrets that will transform your life right now. Turning it over to Mark Hoverson.
Number 4 that I did. Now my computer crashed that I had this on, so I'm kind of like typing this as we go, looking at my other computer. But technophobia disease and the cure. See, for me, I didn't know how to make an attachment in an email. I had no idea. I was the least techie of all my friends. So they, to this day, they, Vince, you have to deal with it a little bit. But it's almost like I'm illiterate when it comes to technology. I mean, I think I'm better though.
I was texting you earlier. I was like, make your windows bigger and stuff. I was like, I can't. It's I
don't know how to do half things, but here's what happened. Let me tell you, the cure for technophobia is just admitting that it's a condition that you're maybe always going to have. Like, I'm not kidding you. I will go into Apple if something's wrong with my phone or my computer, and the genius people, the geniuses that are supposed to know everything, they're stumped. They're like, I've never seen a problem like this. No. I'll have I have gurus who will come over to my house that are great with Macs if I have any issue. They'll look at it and say, yeah, I don't even know. It's almost like I have a technophobic curse. I'm not kidding you. It is a bizarre thing. But what I realized was that I didn't care. And when I started, there was a company called Coffee Cup back then. That's where you had to design your own website when I got started. There wasn't any pull-off-the-shelf, WYSIWYG, what you see is what you couldn't, like what Clifton's created on the blog platform. Yeah, right. Nothing like that was even close. We had to learn Dreamweaver, which is like a coding thing, and I don't even know. But here's the thing. I locked myself away. I read everything I could read about how to code websites. Vince, can you believe I coded all my websites? I coded them.
I can't believe it.
I did it. Well, and here's what I do. I would literally call customer service of like AWeber or these autoresponders, and I said, listen, help. Please help me. Please help me. Please help me. And I'd talk to an employee, and I said, okay, here's the thing. He's like, oh, no, you just grab this HTML code, and then you copy and paste it in, and you put it in this code 7 of the 11th line. And I said, here's the thing. I don't know what you're saying. Can you do this for me or something? And he's like, no, we don't do that. And I said, what's your PayPal address? And he goes, well, sir, I said, no, I'm serious. Here's the deal. You're doing a good job. I'm going to be a long-time faithful person. I've sent thousands of people to AWeber. I have made them a fortune. I have no guilt on what I did. I said, I'm going to be here for a long time. I don't know what I'm doing. What's your private PayPal? And I'd give this kid like $20 a day on top of what he was making for AWeber to do my website. But I said, listen, you have to do this because, like, I don't mind the ethical issue there. Okay, I don't mind it at all. But I paid him to do that for me. And I said, and I've sent, like I said, I've generated so much money for AWeber. It's not even, it's actually physically hilarious. And they've actually paid me probably 6 figures, just as an affiliate reference. But anyway, what I said was, this whole, like, I'm a technophobe, that wasn't going to be my identity. My identity was, like, I'm a technophobe who makes millions of dollars online. That was my identity. Not I'm a technophobe. I'm a technophobe who makes millions of dollars online. I'm a technophobe who figured it out. I'm a technophobe who doesn't let things like being a technophobe stop him. So if you're not knacky with computers, don't worry about it. If you're not knacky, it's so much easier today than it was when I was. I mean, even to get a video on YouTube, you had to compress it, and you had to do transfer it, change file languages, and it was impossible. And I was one of the only people that worked hard enough to figure out how to do it in the early days, and that's what gave me my breakthrough. But there's a lot of you right now who literally, if you, instead of logging into the back office and saying, oh, I don't know, this doesn't come naturally to me, instead of letting that be, this doesn't come naturally to me, instead of allowing this to ruin your life, if you want something, it doesn't matter if it doesn't come naturally to you. It doesn't matter. No, it just doesn't matter. I'm not good at shooting videos. It doesn't matter. Hosting a webinar doesn't come natural for me. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So what happened was I got rid of that word, and I just said, you know, the tech thing doesn't come naturally to me, but that's not going to stop me. See, there's melting points, and what I taught early on, the first batch of leaders that we groomed into 6 figures, I said, you got to raise your melting point. I said, you melt when your uncle says, oh, you're in an internet thing. That actually melts you. You don't deserve it. I'm sorry. You've disqualified yourself because your uncle has more weight over your future than you do. And in that kind of powerless state of being, it's impossible to get what you want anyway. So you're disqualified because you melted. Period. And some people are like, well, I don't have much money. Okay, well, if that's what melts you, you got to raise your melting point. People are melted so freaking easy. And I don't know, I'm sure I have a melting point. God have mercy. I'm not going to ask for him to test it. But I feel like he's tested it on many occasions. And, you know, I just haven't melted. And I could have melted many, many, many times. Some of you, oh my gosh, you place an ad, you make a few sales, and then someone drops and sends you an email and says, you're not a leader like I thought you'd be. That melts you. Your future is stopped because somebody out there just doesn't like you a whole lot. These melting points, as you get rid of them, and I'm kind of going on a hog here, but the technophobia, some of you allow that to melt you, and it just, you got to understand it's okay that you're a technophobe. It's okay that you're nervous with video. You know, it's okay if a stranger in California sends you a Facebook saying, hey, I went to your website and you're a terrible blogger. Hey, this and that. It's okay. Because you've got to eliminate the melting points. Raise your hand if you hear what I'm saying. And as you learn to eliminate melting points, you can free up other people that melt under everything. They melt under their dads. Their dad still doesn't, you know, I've told many people, you know, all of us have these issues. And I'll tell you, your biggest problem is your melting point. So some of you just got to figure out what that melting point is. A lot of it's a synergy of a whole lot of things. But I mean, some of you are thinking, well, if mom and dad don't approve of what I'm doing, I'm not going to do it. Well, okay, well, then, you know, unfortunately, that's your melting point, and you know, you're not doing them. You know, whatever. You melted. That's all I just said. You melted. You just don't get to melt. Oh, Vince, I could go on this for days, but I want to shoot very straight here. I want to be very, very candid. You can't melt so damn easy, everybody. You can't. It's not allowable to go after what you want. So this is my steps, and I just started taking away the melting points. You know what I mean? Oh, buying all this stuff is stressing me out because I had to fly to these conferences, and I didn't have any money. I got credit cards, fortunately, and somehow I had enough limits to max these things out. I was $40,000 in credit card debt. 40 grand. 40. 40. Not 14,000, not 1,400. 40,000, and I wasn't making much money. In fact, I was losing money. And so if I would have said, well, you know, I'm in debt, therefore that's my melting point. Well, to me, it's like Jeffrey Combs taught me. I said, you know, to hire you is $2 more grand, and I'm already 20 grand in debt, and I don't make any money at all. We're paying for groceries on these credit cards that are 22%. And he said, you know, you're 20 grand in debt. What's a few more thousand? Okay. Seriously. Seriously. And I was like, you know what? I'm in so deep now that I can't get a job and pay off all this crap. I have to figure it out. So whatever you think is your excuse is a melting point that hundreds and thousands of other people have overcome. All right. Raise your hand if you're getting some value. Because I feel really pretty good about some of the downloads we're doing here. And we got to speed this part.
You know what a huge one for me is, Mark, explaining to people that it's okay when people say stuff like that during closing sales. Because, like, for example, in my situation, you knew that I had a baby girl on the way. I was still living in my parents' house, all that stuff. And then I still made a $5,000 transaction with you, and that changed my life. And it's not like you didn't care about what was going to happen. You just knew that was the thing that needed to happen in my life to, you know, open the window.
Well, I did care. That was the difference. See, Vince, what we did a little joint venture. Vince started working hard. I think baby on the way was the inspiration to like finally get you to not be a kid anymore and wake up, right? And so I don't know what it takes. Everybody has their own wake up. I had many kids, and I still was broke as can be, and I don't know, but.